Dr. Johnson, secondary log, January 3rd, 2019. It's a follow-up video to my previous introductory video. I am guessing that there's quite a few questions you may have had. For one thing, I mentioned that I really had no advanced knowledge of the future. Yet I told you I built a time machine. So how does someone who has no advanced knowledge of the future build a time machine? Well, time travel isn't actually a rare thing in the future. It's just a very dangerous thing. It's an illegal thing because of what can happen. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who attempted it because of the death of the planet. And I have been searching for others who may have come through in their own devices and pods. I'm sure that there were probably many, but they may have not come here. One thing we all agreed to go to different time periods because that way the past wasn't saturated with new individuals. Because even though we didn't want to happen what had happened to happen, there's still a law of causality and the fact that we might cause something worse to happen. Though you can't get much worse than the destruction of the entire planet. But at the same point, we want to prevent it. We want to stop it from happening. So we don't want to make it happen sooner. Just because of our events. And obviously I don't know if that's the case. In the timeline I came from, the planet was destroyed in the year 2842. But in this new timeline, which I now exist coming from 2019, we may only have 3 years to live. I don't know. I mean, I have as little knowledge of the future now as you do. Because the future that I came from no longer exists. I left it. And the law of causality, what we know of time travel in the future, as it is well understood, it is ever-changing. It is constantly a shifting pattern that cannot be quantified. We can travel backwards through a complex series of chemical reactions. Complex to anyone from this time, but very simple. Basically, a child could do it in the future. It's getting your hands on the materials that's the thing. It's kind of like, you know, anyone could make illegal drugs, but getting the materials might be hard. And knowing exactly how to put them together might be hard. It's the same kind of thing. It's about as complicated as brewing beer, basically. If you want to put it in, modern day perspective. So that's why I was able to build pods. And I built those pods for my family specifically. When I said save everyone, I was just referring to my family, not the entire planet. That's my goal now. Obviously, I had no way to do that in the future. Well, what was the future? So, a lot of progress I've made so far. I am creating an organization that will eventually fund a research project to build an encompassing grid around the planet. What I've devised is sort of a mesh network of satellites that integrate and all search for interstellar objects all at the same time. By doing this, then they can be detected at much higher rates. And the key to this is, if I create something this early in the time, then by the time the germs here, oh my God, Jesus, we had eradicated most sickness in my time, but at the same time, we don't have the antibodies. I nearly died when I came here, just from the bacteria in the air. But thankfully, common future knowledge, I knew some things to do to quickly grow antibodies for myself. With some basic household composites. I might share those in a later video. I don't know how much of the dispersion I want to be, because although my goal is to alter the timeline, again, I don't want to alter it to a point where it has a negative connotation. But I digress. As I was saying before I trailed off, the goal is to generate something early enough to where there is awareness. And if there's awareness, then it can be discussed and it can be built. And then it'll be just a natural thing. It'll be just a natural thing. And it won't be like this crazy thing. You know, oh, there's never going to be a meteorite that's going to destroy the planet. No, never. It's never going to happen. Why would we ever devote our money and resources to that? That's what we say. That's what they were saying today. And that's what was carried into the future, because there had never been an actual threat. And when one came, there was no time to prepare. There was no time. And we did have astronauts. We do have colonies on the moon and on Mars and on the moons of Jupiter. And those people did survive. But they couldn't do shit for us back on Earth. They didn't have time. We don't have fast spaceships. We have ones that work. They're okay. Get you there in a few months. We have sustainable supplies. We don't have starships like Star Trek. Star Trek did inspire quite a bit, and the designs are similar, but the warp drive, the technology that existed on those shows never came to be. We could never find the power source necessary to create that. They tried for decades, centuries. They may be getting close still, but they're closer now, well then, than they are now. It's hard to talk in the past tense and the future tense. But still, never fully came to be. So, to conclude, that's just a couple of the questions that you may have had. I just wanted to go ahead and answer those. I'll be providing further updates on the grid that's being designed and what the plans are to keep it from making that future happen. Dr. Johnson out.